Hi, Coach Sam here from Underdog Hoops. So today's podcast, or if you guys are watching on YouTube, we are going to be discussing new basketball coaches. If you are new, if you want to start becoming a basketball coach, uh, kind of go over little by little what you guys can do, um, and we'll get right into that. So. Just give me a second to get the slideshow started and we'll get right on it. All right, so new basketball coaches. Um, basically, if you're new to coaching or if you want to get started coaching, volunteer is the way to go. So that means not getting paid. All the, you know, I don't get paid and I am there to learn, to become a better coach. I, even if I did get paid, most of that expense would be towards basketball and gasoline and transportation to and from. Um, so it really doesn't matter if you get paid or not. It's uh, to me, it's just it might be a plus for some people. So basically, you want to start out as an assistant coach uh, and learn. So go to camps, go to clinics, go to online clinics. I know there's a bunch of people that offer it. I'm going to start to offer some courses in the near future to add to my Underdog Hoops. And, you know, this is a great learning experience for you guys. If you guys are starting to coach, I would basically say get a notepad and write things that you like, write things that you don't like, uh, and share them with your head coach. And always come prepared. So bring your whistle, um, bring a basketball, bring stuff that you would use during a practice. If you aren't provided those, now if you are provided those by the school or something else, then you could just get them from the locker room or wherever they're stored. Um, but basically, you want to start at the low end. You don't want to have a lot of pressure on you. That this is basically how I started. I started at a freshman level, basically beginning of their high school careers, and they're younger. They are more adept to listen to you, uh, and but you don't want them to take advantage of you. That's something that I have seen, that I have been a part of. I've seen people take advantage of other people, and it's not good. It's not good for them. It's not good for the players. So you just want to make sure that you aren't taken advantage of, that they know that if the head coach is gone, you're in charge, and if the if there's any blowback on that, it's going to be an issue. So that's basically what I did. There's always going to be a punishment for that. So basically, assistant's responsibility. And there's a lot more than this. I just, picked the ones that I pretty much am responsible for to the head coach. So basically, you want to take pressure off the head coach. You want to be able to give him some leeway to do some other stuff. So the head coach that I work with, it has a kid on varsity, so he wants to be at some varsity practices, and varsity plays at the or practices at the same time as the JV. So what I do sometimes is I'll do some drills, I'll do some plays, I'll go over some stuff. So it gives me an opportunity to be by myself, work with the kids, and it also gives him the opportunity to help those the varsity kids. So that is what I do. So I recommend I do all these things. I look at stats. So we have a manager that does our stats for us. So we look at stats, we keep track of everything, we make sure that it's all up to date. Um, I keep track of fouls and turnovers and stuff like that. Uh, so basically, you I keep track of like the timeouts and if someone is in foul trouble. So if you pick up two early fouls in the first quarter, that's foul trouble. So, uh, and if there's three by the set in the second quarter or first half or whatever you guys play, then I would consider taking them out because most times there is a five foul limit. So you want to make sure you can use those five fouls to your advantage, but not have them foul out at the same time. So you want to keep track of that. Also, keeping track of timeouts, very important. So if you call a timeout and you don't have a timeout, that means you get a tech. So you're gonna get a tech. Coach is probably gonna be mad. Uh, you want to make sure that you know how many timeouts you have. Make sure that you are uh, cooperating with the official book, which is a scorebook and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that it's right on both ends and that we keep track of that because if that is out of line, and I've never had this situation happen to me where I've miscalculated a timeout or whatever, or it happened maybe once, but the other book was wrong, so our book took over for the home book. So this is stuff that we look at. I look at stats. I keep them all in my book, and I have a stat book that's on Amazon right now. So it's Underdog Hoops stat book or 30 game stat book. It's really a useful tool to use throughout the season for your main season. It's 30 games, so you can keep them, track, you know, your rebounds, turnovers, assists, points, everything. So you guys get to keep that if you guys purchase it. Um, Basically, as an assistant coach, you want to be sure to be responsible for showing up. If you're not going to show up or if you can't show up because maybe you have a work obligation or maybe, something came up, you want to make sure that you let the coach know just like you would your other job. Because, that's very important to him, very important to you. You don't want to feel like you don't want them to feel like, oh, they're just not going to come in today. Uh, I want volunteer coaches that are committed to, work, to like put in the work to develop these kids. Now, I wouldn't expect like them to do all the work that they do, but I would expect them to, help out. So what I do, since I'm kind of sharing this, is I make film. So I take film, I'll upload it to YouTube or whatever. I put it on our Band app. So if you haven't had Band, or haven't created a Band account, that's where I go to upload them. And so I upload them to YouTube, put the shareable link in the Band app. Then they could just click that link and go right to the video, and it can be on unlisted, so no one else can see it except for whoever has this link. So that's what I've done. And the head coach has no pressure at all. That's pretty much all on me. But it's really a good way for them to see what they've been doing, see how they can improve, what areas, it helps them out a lot. So, most people, like 5 or 6 people would watch it, and I'm fine with that. Like, if 5 or 6 people watch that and find something to uh, use, then that's great. And, you know, it's a learning experience for all assistant coaches. Um, you learn every single day. You are basically, you don't want to, you want to add knowledge to these kids, but you don't want to over, overpower or overdo anything, because they probably don't, and I've kind of learned this, they don't respond to the old school style coach anymore. They respond to, you know, critiquing, fixing, implementing, critique, fix, and implement. So make sure that they know how to do all that. You don't want to yell at them. I've kind of learned that, it's not the best. So that's the podcast, guys. That's the YouTube video. If you guys like this video, please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will be notified whenever I post a video. And on the podcast, you guys can go give it a 5-star review, and I would really appreciate it. But other than that, we are done with the podcast. And if you guys want to go check out my band, uh, I will leave it in the description below on both my podcast and my YouTube channel. So please go check that out. And we will see you guys on the next episode on Monday.